everybody. Hope you've all got a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. If you can just bear with us for a minute, just whilst we allow sufficient time for everybody else to join who wants to participate today. I think we've probably got everybody gathered. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the final webinar in this week's special Halloween-themed series, focusing on what's new within Quill and with our partners. Today's partner is Legl, who provide an online payment portal tailor-made for law firms, which, when used in conjunction with Quill, offers clients an easier, more secure way to pay bills. My name is Claire Tuck and I'm Head of Client Success at Quill, and my partner in crime today is Tara Rickard, the Customer Engagement Manager from Legl, and we'll hand over to Tara in a little while. I will just undertake or make note of a few housekeeping points. Today's session will be recorded and a recording will be emailed to all participants with a link to view it at leisure and hopefully share with your colleagues. The agenda for today, there'll be a short piece just about Quill and Legl, and then Tara will take control and she will take you through what's new with billing at Legl. At the end, we will have a Q&A session. So you can ask any questions you have, but please do feel free to use the chat function at the top of your screen throughout the session, because then you can make a note of anything that pops into your head at that particular time. Anyway, without any further ado, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Quill, we've been around for over 45 years. Delivering accounts and practice management software and cashiering services to over 800 law firms. We're industry leading and fiercely independent, and we offer a one-stop shop for all your law firm's needs. We have a continual and ongoing development program to make sure that we provide you or law firms with the functionality that you need to help you effectively and efficiently manage not only your clients and matters, but also your business. And we've also got a little bit of a feather in our cap. We are proud to say that we are an affiliate partner of the Law Society. And you can just see on the bottom of the screen a smattering of some of our clients. I think that's probably enough about Quill. And I'm now going to hand you over to Tara, who will inform us all of the new functionality within Quill and Legl. Tara.
Hello, hello. Thanks, Claire. Before I get started, I'll just do a quick sound check. Can you hear me okay, Claire?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So thanks everyone for joining today in what might be your lunchtime. So as Jenny said, hopefully you've got a cup of tea, but we'll keep this nice and short and sweet. And as Claire says, there'll be time for questions at the end. So for those of you who are less familiar with Legl, I thought I would do like a little intro similar to Claire. So Legl really aims to give law firms the tools to grow and succeed in a digital first world. So what we focus on is providing best-in-class digital client experiences. So particularly specializing in enabling your law firm to provide firm-branded experiences throughout the client lifecycle. So whether that's during the onboarding process, throughout the matter, but also including payments. So for this topic today, which we're focusing on. And I think what really underpins our solution at Legl is the ability to get really rich insights from really simple out-of-the-box dashboards. So you could start collecting some really interesting data, such as how long does it take clients to onboard, or how long to take client payments, and then use that data for better business decisions. And today we'll focus on some of the payment side of things, obviously, so I'll walk through some of those. So to get us started, really, we've got sort of three features that we're going to focus on in this webinar. And the first nice, short and sweet and simple, is looking at batch create pay requests. So to give you a bit of context and overview, for those of you who haven't used Legl before, or maybe have started using the integration with Legl and Quill, with the integration, you can create unique payment links, which you can then send to your clients, asking them to make the payment online. And these links are great because they're pre-populated with references such as matter reference or bill or invoice reference, which makes your lives really easy because the reconciliation process, you've got all of that information to hand. So with those links in mind that you can create one by one and send them to clients, what this new feature does is it allows you to create them in bulk. So it's really simple. All you need to do is you download a template of ours, insert your client information, such as how much they're going to pay, their details, and any references to help make that process of reconciliation really easy. And then you re-upload it, and that creates and sends them out in bulk. So what this really aims to do is help to streamline your firm's payment collection processes and reduce the amount of sort of admin that's required to create those requests and send them to the client. So whether you're going to use this in, say, the context of credit control or to request payments at the end of the month, the quarter or financial year, whenever you sort of need to request monies from your clients all at the same time, this is what's going to really streamline that process. So yeah, that's a bit of an overview on one of the latest features we've launched here at Legl. And for any more sort of information on that, we're always happy to sort of do demos and anything like that. And you will see in the next two features, I will go into a bit more detail and give you a bit of a live demo of what that looks like. So that's it for batch create pay requests. I'm going to move on to our next feature, which is one of our larger features called Pay by Bank. So to summarize, Pay by Bank is really a new way for clients to pay using their bank account. And this uses what's known as open banking technology. So using account-to-account payments, we can allow clients to authorize funds directly from their online banking app. So they can essentially transfer funds to the firm securely without needing to enter any card details. And I'll go over this in a bit more detail when you'll actually see it in practice so you can see what it looks like from the client's perspective. So a couple of the benefits around Pay by Bank and using this payment method and offering it to your clients is there's actually no need to share the firm's bank account details with the client. So to that point of making it a safe and secure payment, we know that sometimes there is a common concern for firms where they're sort of thinking about, how are bank details being sent and how are they being stored? So with Pay by Bank, because the client's authorizing that payment directly from their bank account, there's no need for the firm to send any of those details to the client. And so one of the second points I wanted to call out was around the ease of use. So it's really easy and slick experience for clients to use. Rather than having to go through the admin of sort of getting the firm's bank account details, setting them up as a payee, then transferring the payment over, it's just done directly through a request to the client, and then they authorize it in their bank account. One of the third points I sort of wanted to call out was around the reconciliation side of things, making that a lot faster. So all of the references associated with the client's payment would be input by the firm and pre-populated for the client. So the client receives a nice firm branded link requesting the payment. It might have their bill reference or matter reference associated, so they don't even have to input that, nor the amount. And then on the firm side, if you think about it, there's none of that sort of running around the firm and asking, who's this payment from John Smith? Which matter does it relate to? All of that's going to be pre-populated for you. And then one of the final points that I thought was quite valuable to highlight is around capped pricing. So with Pay by Bank, we can actually cap the pricing which is particularly useful for those larger transactions. You're not paying a huge transaction fee. So it's really a great option to make those larger transactions much more affordable for the firm as well. So I'm going to jump to the next screen and we can actually take a look at it in action, because I've said a lot, but obviously to be able to visualize it really helps to understand what the client might experience. So I'll play this video. First of all, see if I can make it bigger. Hopefully you can all see that. Do tell me, Claire, if it's looking small or anything. But what you're seeing here is an example of the payment request link that the client would have received in an email. They click that link online. And what you're seeing, first of all, down here on the left-hand side is firm branding. So again, talking to that idea of building trust with the clients. They know exactly who they're paying, and it's a really slick, consistent experience. And then at the top, do you see where it says your details? And we've got the cardholder's name, any of the references associated with the payment, which the firm would have pre-filled for the client, including the amount. So all the client has to do is just review that information and then agree to continue at the bottom and make the payment. And what they're seeing now is two options. So there's the traditional paying by card, where they insert their card number and the CVC code, etc. But there's now using this new function, which is pay by bank, which if they select that, allows them to go directly to their bank account and authorize this payment. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So when they first click pay by bank, they'll be presented with a screen where they can search for or select their bank account if it's already included on the list of sort of commonly used bank accounts. Otherwise, they just search for it in the search bar at the top. But you'll see that what I'm doing is I'm actually just using the mock bank account rather than logging into my own bank account. So we'll see that process. And before they do go into their bank account, what's happening in here is we're giving them lots of information about how their details or their payment is not going to be stored and is remaining private. So it helps to provide that reassurance. So as you'll see, once they click continue at the bottom, the client will then be given some options as to how they wish to access their online banking. So whether they're using a mobile device, a tablet, or their desktop computer, they'll have these options. So because I'm using obviously a desktop computer, what I could do essentially is I could actually use my phone, open the camera up, hover it over the QR code, and that will open up my banking app if I do happen to have it on my phone. However, if I don't, and I just want to log into my online banking online, not through an app or on my phone, I can use the option at the bottom, which is the one I'm going to show you now. So you see, continue to online banking. It's going to take me to my bank account, but in this case, a mock bank account. I'm going to log in. And what I'm seeing here is inside my bank account, let's say I've got multiple accounts in there. It's actually giving me the option to choose where I wish to transfer the funds from. And then you can also see at the top, it's giving you information about the transfer that you're about to authorize as the client. So you can see the exact amount that's being requested and who it's going to. So of course that would be your law firm's name, so they can see exactly where the money's going before they authorize it. And at the bottom, they just click authorize payment. And that's it. The payment's now processing, and it's going to go directly from the client's bank account to yours at the firm. So that's how simple that sort of process is. And to talk to some of the other points that are happening in the background is once that payment's been authorized, both the firm and the client are receiving email notifications with receipts in, so they know exactly what's gone on. And as you saw, the process is really streamlined. The client simply receives the payment request, all the information pre-filled. They choose to use Pay by Bank, which directs them to log into their online banking. They log in, confirm all the payment details, click authorize, and it goes straight to the bank account at the firm. And that's it. So that's really sort of Pay by Bank in a nutshell, as an additional way that you can take payments for clients, making it really easy for the client, but also really great option for the firm as well. Okay, so I will move on to the next slide once my video pauses. Let's see. Always fun trying to play with videos at the same time. Claire, are you able to see that I'm now on the payment plans slide?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so moving on from Pay by Bank, now going to talk to payment plans. And all of these features you will have noticed is a bit of a theme with sort of what's going on in the current climate. So if you think about it, we're in a slightly different economic climate condition than we were, say, 6 months ago. There's a lot more pressure financially, and that really means that consumers are going to have a lot less cash as well. So it's about making the experience not only easy for the client, the consumer, but how can we do it in the most affordable way, but also make sure that the firm's attracting a great pool of clients as well and not limiting that. So with payment plans, introducing this feature, what we're really focusing on is enabling clients to break up their payments into smaller installments. And we're helping law firms to do this by enabling them to automate the process of scheduling, collecting, and reminding clients about the schedule of payments that they're making. And what this also does is it helps the firm to extend the pool of clients. If you think about some clients who, maybe won't instruct a lawyer, or they'll go and look elsewhere for something that's more affordable or more flexible in terms of payment terms. So this really helps to open that up. But also another key point I wanted to call out is with payment plans, being able to schedule those payments, what we're helping firms to do is create a lot more certainty around when they're going to get paid. So you've got a much better idea of forecasting and predictability. So I think that kind of summarizes what payment plans is trying to do, and I'll show in more detail what exactly it looks like. But first of all, I'll talk to some of the key challenges that we're finding firms are facing around some of the finance pressures. So this report is actually, on this information has come from one of the accountancy firms that specializes in working with law firms. And what they actually found was 55% of firms don't have enough cash to cover at least 1 month's operating expenses. They found that 59% of lawyers report dealing with late payments on a regular basis. And then 14% of what is billed is actually written off each year by firms. So this sort of summarizes some of the challenges, but also the opportunity if you think about it. So what we really want to do, again, as I said earlier, is create more certainty around that cash flow, speed up those payment times, and create more automated finance processes that helps you manage that cash flow a lot more effectively. So if we go and break those down into a bit more detail and where payment plans actually fits in, is if you think about it, if clients often don't pay their invoice in one go, so what they could end up doing is actually delaying the payment. So by scheduling a payment or a payment plan on an agreed timeline with the client, you can help to mitigate some of those risks. And again, looking on the left-hand side, clients, as I said earlier, if they don't instruct a lawyer or they end up going to a different firm or perhaps not getting legal advice full stop because there aren't affordable or flexible ways to pay, by offering those more affordable payment terms, then you can help attract those new clients. And then lastly, around the lack of certainty over cash flow. So if you don't have a great visibility over forecasting and cash flow, by using payment plans and having them scheduled and automated can really help your firm understand exactly when cash flow is expected in the bank. And again, going back to some of those economic challenges that we were talking about, this is a really great way to help firms adapt in the current climate and making sure that you're set up for success now, but also in the future. So how do payment plans essentially work? So I've got a little screenshot on the side, but in the next slide, I'll jump into like a live video again. But it's quite simple. So really, all you would end up doing in legal is entering the total value that needs to be paid over the course of the plan. So if you've agreed to £800 and you've agreed to the client paying monthly installments of £200 each, then this is what you enter as part of the payment plan. And what happens is legal's plan automatically gets created for you by calculating the correct number of monthly installments that will then make up that total amount. They send that out to the client. Once the client reviews the plan, and that's what we're seeing in an example on the left, is where they can review the plan after they've received it in an email. And then all they do is enter their card details to make the first payment. Those get saved, and then each future installment is debited automatically. So there's no need for the client to keep entering card details, no need for you at the firm to go back and forth and chasing the payment or anything like that. It's all automated with reminders going out to the client beforehand, so they know exactly when their payments are going to be due. So there's no sort of bill shock or anything like that. So we're keeping both the client and the firm in the loop when it comes to scheduled and automated payments. So it really should give the firm a lot of peace of mind around how the payment plan is progressing, because they can actually log into legal and have a look. And also just gives the client peace of mind knowing that payments are going to be debited and when they're going to be debited as well. So the last sort of little demo that I'll jump into is around payment plans. So let's play the video. I'll make it large again. So this is an example of creating a payment plan in practice, really. So as you can see at the top, we're entering the total amount, so £6,000, with monthly instalments that have been agreed with the client of £1,000. As you can see on the right-hand side, it's automatically calculated it across 6 monthly instalments. And it's showing you at the firm when the first payment is going to be due and when the final payment is going to be due as well. And then again, you can insert all of the references associated with the payment, create the request, send it to the client. The client would open up that request via email perhaps. And in here again, on the left-hand side, it's always that idea of the firm branding, so making sure they know exactly who they're paying and it's a slick, consistent experience. But what you're seeing now from the client's perspective is they've got this whole plan overview. So you can see again what the firm has input, so that total of £6,000 with 6 instalments of £1,000 each. It tells the client exactly when the payment's going to be taken, when the next payment is due. Again, you've got all the client's details inserted there so they can check those. And then they've got a full breakdown of the payment schedule. So the status next to each, the amount, the due date, so they can see exactly what's going on with their plan at any time. At the bottom, they're asked to submit their first payment, so they would enter their card details in. Once they confirm the card payment, those details are stored so that all future payments are debited automatically as agreed. And that's it. So again, there's notifications going out to both the firm, but also to the client, so they know exactly the progress of their plan at any point, with advance warnings going out to the client so they know beforehand when a payment is due to be taken. So that's really it for payment plans, and hopefully that little video gives you a bit of an overview. But again, just to iterate, what we're really aiming for is flexibility for the client. So making billing really easy, removing any sort of those manual processes that come from managing payments, making it easy for the client with reminders, emails going out, but also giving the firm a much better picture of the cash that's coming in, being able to forecast exactly what's due and when clients are going to make payments, which I think is pretty fitting for the current climate. With that, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. So I'll pass back to Claire, and I think we've got time for Q&A.
Thank you very much, Tara. And I'm sure everybody will agree that that was a very insightful demonstration and explanation as to how use of legal can expedite and streamline payment of bills securely, which is very important, and simply. And I think as well, it really shows that you've thought about helping to ease that all-important cash flow issue that everybody right now is probably suffering from, and you can it'll benefit you and your clients. In terms of Q&As, I've got a couple of questions that have been asked. So Tara, if I ask them and you can deliver the answer.
Yes.
First question is, how long does it take for payments to arrive at the bank?
Yes, good question. So it's 3 calendar days for the payment to go into the firm's bank account. But one thing to call out is actually that feature that went over for Pay by Bank. So Pay by Bank, which does the account-to-account transfers where the client authorizes the payment directly from their bank account, those transfers are actually instant as well. So that's another great benefit of Pay by Bank. But yes, otherwise it would be three calendar days.
Okay. Another question. Can we process refunds using the integration?
Yes, in the case of refunds, if the firm just reaches out directly to legal, we can support them in creating that refund.
Okay. And I think this is quite important for everybody. How is the payment data made available to us?
Yeah, so especially with the integration actually between legal and Quilt, there's a lot of information being collected. And whether you're using it directly from your Quill account and it's connected up with Legal, you're going to have all this rich data about sort of how long it's taking the payment to be made, but also any of the references associated to make it super easy to reconcile directly from Quill. In Legal, we've got out-of-the-box dashboards in our insights area where you can actually further understand how long payments are taking to be made, who's making them, all of that kind of information that helps with those sort of business decisions and sort of any business strategy. So yeah, there's lots of data made available in both Quill and Legal with integration, and it's all exportable as a CSV or a spreadsheet.
Okay, are there any other questions on the floor that I haven't yet seen? No, obviously not. So I think thank you very much, everybody, for attending today's webinar. As we said, we will be emailing you all with a link to a recording so that you can view it again at leisure or share with colleagues. You can also, there'll be links to the Quill website, and we'll also be able to get you in touch with Legal. And one last thing, in case any of you are interested, we do have our webinar on the 16th of November that will be in conjunction with the Law Society and our partner Google, and it's going to be all about security and data accessibility. So there'll be information on our website, and of course you'd all be more than welcome to join us on November the 16th. So thank you again, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned a lot from it, and we're ready to provide you with more information whenever you need. Thank you very much.